What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. Hey, I just got a delivery. It's 2 packages. As I unbox it here, truly unbox it, I'll explain to you what it is. I'm actually pretty excited about it. It is a tripod spotlight lamp. So it's kind of like a little bit of a traditional throwback type of design, but it's kind of meant for, you know, styling up your modern home. Now, I ordered this on Amazon. I'm going to put a link to it in the description, and I'm also going to give you 3 specific warnings about ordering something like this. Things that I learned. Now, I will tell you that I ordered on Amazon, and I did not realize this was going to be shipped internationally. So it came from overseas, and it ends up being just fine. It ended up getting here in about a week, which is kind of what I would have expected, even if it had been a domestic delivery. So that's kind of impressive that it got here this quick via DHL. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, the other thing is I will say is that the 3 warnings that I have about these things for you is 1, you want to check the size. That might sound like an obvious statement, but what I've noticed is that as I was looking at them and reading reviews, a lot of people were talking about, oh, this was much smaller than I expected, or it wasn't the size I expected. Now, they do give you kind of height dimensions, but because, you know, I think a lot of people are going on pictures and then basing it on, like, comparing it to things around those pictures, you know, people get kind of confused because they're all essentially the same. They're just scaled, you know, whether they're 30 inches high or 70 inches high. And I think this one is like a 70-inch high one. So, you know, almost 5 or 6 feet. So what we have here is the tripod piece and then the lamp piece itself. Okay, so the second warning, as I continue to unbox this, it looks like it's packed in here pretty well. Looks like there's quite a bit of styrofoam. You have to just go this way. The second warning that I will give you is, if you're going to use this as a lamp, make sure you read the description and what they will basically stand by the manufacturer on what it's supposed to be used for. In fact, most of them say for decoration purposes only. Now, old school styrofoam here, I'm going to get a lot of these things. We're going to have to do a little bit of vacuuming, so it is what it is. Because I read a number of descriptions that have said things like, I put in a bulb and the bulb blew out immediately, or it exploded the light bulb, or people have said, you know, doesn't work, I can't get the cords to work, the cords look frayed, there's no CE or UL certification on the electronics. And that's because I think a lot of them literally, even though they might throw in a cord and a bulb socket and whatnot, they're not meant for actual use, or, you know, I guess they're saying use it at your own risk. There's no testing of it. And so I don't know that you're supposed to put a bulb in some of these. Now, obviously, I think most people want to. Some people just might want them for the ambiance and the, kind of the decoration. So that's kind of up to you. Double check that before you risk burning your house down. And then the last thing I will say, the complaint that I saw in a lot of reviews is that there was no instruction manual included with the spotlight lamp. And I'll tell you what, I don't see one either. Now, that's okay, I think. And most of the descriptions or the reviews also said that they were able to figure out how to put it together pretty easily. I think it's pretty straightforward. And the pictures seem like they're pretty good on the description, so you can kind of reverse engineer it. But just kind of understand that I don't think a lot of these have really detailed step-by-step instructions. Now this piece right here, so that's 3, I think. This piece right here is the spotlight itself, and I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest. It's not that heavy. It's not nearly as heavy as I thought it might be. And it's pretty big, right? So if I kind of give you a little tour, I do like that it has a very polished finish. I like that it has kind of this perforated compartment down here. I don't know what that's for. It has kind of like a drum style tightener and latch components, 4 of them here on this big lens. We have a signal lantern type of flap in here, kind of like Venetian blinds, and you can control them on either side here. So that'll help control the amount of light that comes out. Looks like there are 3 little hooks here, so you could potentially slide in things like colored lenses or whatever. And then on the top, or maybe on the bottom, there's another kind of perforated box here. So it looks pretty nice. This little handle here, this like cross-shaped thing, seems to, I don't know, I guess it does move. Not sure exactly what it's controlling inside. And maybe nothing. It looks like just there's screws that go inside, so they're more for decoration, their handles. But I mean, all these pieces, even the brackets and all this, you know, solid metal, it gives it kind of a nice robust feel. And then on the back, just a big plate. We have, I can see the light bulb socket in there, and then we have a cord here to plug it in. Now, I don't know, I can't see anything that says, you know, UL or CE, but I'm gonna risk it. And my plan here too was also to use like an LED or a compact fluorescent bulb, not a halogen or an incandescent bulb anyway. There's also a bracket here, you know, as we kind of peruse through these things. So I'm assuming that maybe those two handles on the side, this will attach there, and then this will attach to the top of the tripod. So, all right, so I got this bracket finally unpackaged, and it's nice polished silver as well. This was probably the hardest thing to get open. As you can see, it's just kind of a big U here, so we'll put that on too. Now, I also want to take a look at this piece here, because this is kind of the business end of it. And what I'm really curious about, this is the tripod, is this will determine how high this sucker sits, obviously. But also, you know, one of the things that I was wondering is, you know, what's on the bottom of the base of the feet here? Because will it scuff up hardwood, or, you know, is it going to puncture carpet? I just don't know. I don't know. Now, the other thing is, I will comment here, is on value on this thing. As you buy them, you know, it really depends on the size of your spotlight. But anywhere from about $60 for something in the 2 or 3 foot range, up to what I bought here, which was, I believe, like $120. So they go up in price. Now, I did also see some other ones that look like pretty nice pieces of equipment for like $800. So I'm not sure what that's about, if that's actually vintage or antique or something, but I'm sure you can spend as much or as little as you really truly want. But it seemed that this one got decent reviews. I always like to look for myself. Now, there's a little package here of hardware, so we're probably going to need that. And I will show you here that the base is pretty cool. You know, again, I'm pretty impressed with all the metal hardware here. Again, polished. You know, you can see a little bit of like casting marks, obviously underneath there, for the most part, but a kind of a nice polished color. I will say right out of the gate here, though, I guess it won't matter, but you can see where the wooden legs are bolted into these brackets. There's this like back panel. Might be a little hard to see here. I'm gonna see if I can open up this leg here and kind of show you. And there's a little bit of an issue with it. It has kind of this back panel that's bolted on, screwed on, and you can see it's not really sandwiched together very well. Some sides are a better fit than others, but you know, just kind of keep that in mind. I guess those don't matter. It's not there for support, it's more there for looks, but that's how it works. And then you have kind of this espresso painted wood. It's pretty light actually, and there's a little play in it. And then you can see here, it kind of opens up like a normal tripod with a brace in the middle, and then we have some legs, you know, like a metal post that kind of runs up and down the two wooden parts here. And then we have kind of like a pointed with a flat end here, kind of a point on the bottom of the leg here. So we have, you know, I'm assuming it's steel or stainless steel or something like that. And then to tighten them down, looks like on each of these, there's a nut right here. And I'm guessing probably that hardware, it looks like there's a screw, and you put that screw in there, and then this little plate here is free floating. You might not see that, and it's going to push that plate against these legs and tighten these legs down and together, and that's what's going to hold this post out. So if I just put this down now, all of these legs are going to get sucked back up into the wooden part of the legs. But overall, it seems like a pretty sturdy base. Now this post right here, there's a screw on the top, and this cap looks like it comes off, and that's how this bracket looks like it's going to get mounted on there. So I'm just going to put that on there first. Oh, looks like the screw's attached to the handle here. So I'm going to mount this bracket just like this. And I think it just kind of adds a little bit of a nautical theme. You know, that's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of like New England. So that's pretty clever. Now I do think, as I showed you, there's kind of a more substantial top piece here and kind of a single square box down here. I think this box goes down, and the reason I think that is because if you look at the three little brackets here that might hold like another lens or something, I assume that's going to be gravity held in place, and so I'm assuming this is the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these handles on the side here, on both sides. Okay, so as you can see, I got these in. You can loosen these up a little bit and kind of put this thing at the angle you want. It is kind of front heavy the way it is here, so it's not kind of neutrally balanced. You know, the center line is probably a little further forward. But, you know, especially if you want this pointed up, that you can kind of put it at any angle you want. Now, the last thing I want to do here before we adjust it for height, and as you can see, even with the legs fully compressed here, this is standing, probably about 4 feet tall, just a guess. So I'm going to kind of loosen up these retainers here for the front. And like I said, it's just like a drum. And these just, I don't know if that's polycarbonate. Doesn't seem like glass in the lens, but pretty robust and nice and clear. There's no scratches on it as far as I can tell. And, oh, okay, it's not going to fall off because it is hinged on this side, which is good. Because the whole base of this thing is just sheet metal, even though the hinge is pretty robust, it's putting a little more torque on there than I would like. Now I'm just going to install a bulb in here, plug it in, and let's see how it looks. All right, guys, so here are the little knobs, and these go into the legs down here. Like I said, to tighten, push that little bracket against the wood leg here, and that will hold the extending legs in place. Obviously, it takes a little while, but I can see them already closing on there. So there, now it's tight. Now this leg isn't going to move. So you're just going to want to install these on all three. Obviously, I got a bulb installed. I'm actually using an LED spotlight bulb, which I think makes the most sense because you want that light focused out. This one is in a warm white, and it's a 65-watt light bulb replacement. So it's decently bright. It's also dimmable. If you want the light bulb that I'm using in here, I'll put it in the description. And you can get a 4-pack also from Amazon. It's nice and readily available. Now, I do have the cord kind of snake through here like I would not do it, but there is a little click switch on the cord itself, so that's how you turn it on. No switch on the housing itself, but there, now you can see. That should actually put out pretty nice light, but because this is so focused here, you're going to kind of have a directional beam as kind of a broad diffused light. But I think, you know, with this particularly, you can have the light kind of aimed maybe only 20 degrees up, but you can kind of reflect the light with these vertical or these horizontal blades, you know, more up and kind of diffuse it off of your ceiling or whatever you want to do. So pretty cool, and obviously I could angle it up or down if you wanted to do that too, but just really a cool looking concept. It's a super cool piece of like furniture style, a little antique vintage look that you can add to your home, apartment, condo, and you know, it's and do it pretty cheaply. So I'm always really wanted one of these. I think it's pretty exciting. The only thing I'm maybe worried about are the kind of the pointed metal feet on the bottom of the legs, which I think you might want to get like a little rubber you know, furniture pads or something to put under there to kind of keep them from digging into like hardwood or tile, but otherwise super, super cool. Love it. Check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. Peter from Panda out!